Initially, I had been living in California all my life, and the day I was 18, or the day I turned 18, I actually moved to southern Utah, and I was still in high school, but I got my own like one-bedroom apartment, started working for the first time in my whole life, and just kind of was doing that. I had a girlfriend at the time. We lived together, and I really got pushed into like, adulting very fast. I was a server at a Black Bear diner, and yeah, just, would make pretty good money as a young kid. I would think like, there's full adults doing that, for their gigs. Then I graduated from high school and then started college, and college was definitely, something that a lot of people my age, are just pushed into, like that's what we're supposed to do. So I did it, and luckily I found Dixie State, which was why I moved early, to get like in-state tuition. It was only like $2,500 a semester, which I was able to pay for cash instead of getting loans and stuff, because I knew I didn't want to get into debt. So after my first semester of college, I ended up stumbling upon the documentary Minimalism, and it actually kind of started getting me thinking like of all the unnecessary things I had in my life, and I just felt like these subconscious things were just weighing me down as far as my belongings went, my things. And like one of my favorite quotes is like, the best things in life are not things, and I take that like so seriously, because it's so true. Like it's all about experiences and love and life. So I started stripping down all my belongings, and like I'd start with clothes, and I heard about this movement where it was like 33 or something like that. You wear like 33 items for 33 days and no one notices. So I stripped my clothing down to bare I could, and put it all in boxes, and I forgot about the clothes. Like I was like, what's in there? You have no idea, and yet you care about them so much. It's like, it's stupid. So and it just makes me laugh, because everyone goes and they shop, and they just spend their money on clothes that they wear one or two times, and it just sits in their closet, and it's just like unnecessary. It's a waste. And I'm very good with my money as far as wanting to save, and I have aspirations. And at the time I really wanted a house. That was like my goal. I'm like, I was renting, paying around $1,000 a month for a one-bedroom apartment, and I was like, why am I paying that much when I could save that much? And I was like, why? It doesn't make sense for me at such a young age. Why am I investing into some millionaire when I could be doing it myself? And so that's when I really took things within my own, I controlled what I can control. And I actually found a video on van life from Dylan Magister, this guy, and I saw the van tour, and I was like, dude, I had never thought of it, and I think that's how it is for a lot of people when they first see this. They had no idea, and they were like, gosh, that's so reasonable, it works, it's me. And so I bought the Astro van, bought that thing, moved out of my apartment, started renovating it at my mom's house. After I got it built out, then I pretty much was living kind of in and out of it, because it was summer, and I still worked at that Black Bear diner, but I would go all the places I wanted to go and do all the things I wanted to do on my free time. And that's when it like really started hitting me. Last year exactly today, I was in Canada, and with that van, and I was having a blast. I solo tripped it all the way out and had no idea where I was going, what I was going to do. I had no plans, and I was just driving. Like I thought I was going to go to Glacier National Park, and there was fires happening, so I ended up just saying, screw it, there's the border, let's just go. So I did it, and best time of my life. I met the coolest people and had the best conversations, and it sounds super fake, but it's so real. Like, you definitely got to be an extrovert to, like, as far as like social things go. Like, I'm such a social person, and if I'm not with people, or like if I'm not conversing with people, it's like it weighs down on me. Like, I have to be around people for my energy to be brought up.
You did the first trip in the first van.
Yeah.
You found videos online.
Yeah.
What was the catalyst in your mindset where it went from just a concept to like, hey, I'm going to try this, check it out, to, hey, I'm investing in this and getting another rig? Can you kind of touch base on how that came about?
For me, like, one of the biggest things was when I saw how much I was able to save and how much freedom I had. The freedom to me was like Oh, it's the best. Like, just, it's cake, you know. It's just like, it was something that I had never had before and was able to do, and the fact that I'm working and being able to survive on my own and do what I want when I want was like awesome. I still was like in and out of, I didn't like my job, but it worked. You got to do what works for a short period of time in order to like set off. So I sacrificed really hard with the van, and I was able to save enough to buy 5 acres of land in New Harmony, Utah, which is like right north of St. George, Utah. And I bought 5 acres. It was like $52,000. The fact that I was able to do that was like, man, like if I could do this in this amount of time, dude, like imagine in 5 years or 10 years, you know, whatever. Like, because I still, at the end, I'm trying to make ways of find ways to make passive income. And to me, I actually just got my house plans finalized for that lot, so it could be like a nightly rental. It's actually right in the entrances of Zion National Park. It's like the closest lot you can get to Kolob Canyon. So super sick, and I just think it's a great idea as far as, you know, I don't care to live in a house, but for the people that want to come and experience what it's like to live here too, go for it. And, you know, it's cool to be able to do that and make money, you know, and still plan for retirement, because a lot of people living this life, they're very, you know, not plan for the future and
day to day.
Yeah, just day to day. And, you know, we get that rap of the van people who are just, you know, homeless and don't have aspirations, and I think that's a really bad way to think about it, because I'm doing it a totally different way. And like the fact that I'm sacrificing but having the best time of my life is like crazy to me, you know. I wanted to live in it full time because I was tired of having to move things, you know, in and out if I needed this camera equipment or that. And now I have so much, there was be no way I could be in that van. So I needed something bigger. I wanted to make it a reality and really be full time, because I knew how much it could benefit me. And then the ambulance came about, you know, like I said, the story before, how I got it, and it was just like my life just like boom, like something happened, like flick of a switch, to where like stuff just was coming at me like hard. And, you know, I started getting gigs. I had been pushing so long to do videography, and I just, you know, after I had the van set up, I had more time to invest into my video production stuff and, you know, network myself. And I ended up getting one good gig that set me off to where I'm like, I got to make this a business. So went to my tax lady, had a business set up, and now I have my own line or business, Roses Reels. And then once January started, I started my business, and I still was working at the diner this whole time, and, you know, I was doing all right. Money was good. I would make money on the side with video, but I just was not happy. Every time I would go into work, it was just like, just draining, honestly. It wasn't me and my lifestyle, and I was like, something's got to change. And like, the van definitely kicked me to like do it harder, you know. And a lot of times when I'd get time off, I would just bounce and go somewhere that I didn't know and just wander, you know. After I finished school for the semester, they ended up messing with my schedule without talking to me, and it really pissed me off. But I had like 5 days in a row off, and I'm like, you know what, dude, instead of you know, going off and wandering, like, what can you do to like make yourself like better? Like, what can you do to launch yourself into this video stuff? So I ended up contacting a real estate agent in the area and was like, hey, do you mind if I shoot this house for you, do a couple pictures? She's like, yeah, because no one would trust me with my work. So I went out, shot it for free, took a couple pictures, sent it to her. The next day, it was like, got a phone call that was like, dudes, there's a job opening position for a videographer with this real estate group. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, it was that easy, you know. And kind of long story short, I was supposed to work under some company, and they were kind of screwing people over and would only pay me like $30 a house to go shoot. And I'm like, dude, I know my worth, and it's not that. But I was like, screw it, $30. I'm gonna just bite the bullet. I'm gonna take the pay cut. I'm just gonna make it work. More doors are gonna open. I know it. Like, I know it, and I know it in my head, and I manifest it. And soon enough, get back to work, put my 2 weeks in. My first table of the day is like like 20 different real estate agents, and I'm like, no shit. And pretty much I knew one of them, and she's like, hey, aren't you doing real estate stuff, or like, aren't you doing photography and video? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, check out this video. And one of the guys pops his head out. He's like, are you Mitch Rose? I'm like, yeah. He's like, dude, you're the one that called me about the job. And he's like, ended up giving me this offer to where I could buy this Matterport camera and give me a whole list of agents that I could basically have as clientele. And he's like, my son was doing it. He's the one who quit. Just like all the stars or like all the wires like connected. And I was like, what the heck? Like, it was just such a weird loop of like the people. It was basically like $2,800 to buy the camera, Matterport, and you know, all the clientele. And he was just like, I'll promote the hell out of you. And I'm like, dude, this is that door. I'm like, this is that door. That $30 ain't the door. And I'm like, you know, like there's one of my favorite quotes from poems from Jack Frost is like the road not taken. And it talks about how way leads on to way, meaning like that door that you go through will lead to another door. And it's just like, you know, never ending. And some people just can't walk through that front door. You know, they can't open it, and they're just too scared. And I was like, I got to do it. And just, you know, what's it gonna hurt, you know? And you just got to have that mentality. But now I have a whole list of agents. Like I was a little bit slower this last week, and now I'm going to Canada, and I'm like, just watch, right when I go, everyone's gonna hit me up. And I've gotten like 6 calls just yesterday, and I'm like, why, you know? But that's kind of how it works. And it's just like, people are so scared to just do what they love. And like, I love video, I love living like this. You know, living like this, working at a diner just wasn't doing it for me. So I did what I could to manifest my life, and it, like, now it's working out exactly the way I planned. You know, it's just like I created my life, and it's like all flowing now. And it's like now I'll go day to day, and just like things, it's not things you can really explain to people, but like you'll go about your day and just like watch the things that happen, and you just shake your head like, did that seriously just happen? And just like you look at life just so differently, and you can't explain it to someone. Like, you only know if you do this. Like it's something you can't explain or describe to someone. It's just like the way it is, and Absolutely. It's such a trip.
So going back to something you said earlier, and it's an important part for anybody to do this, and you kind of touched base on it just right there, but what was the defining moment where, you know, it's kind of, the way I describe it is the difference between somebody, like trying to describe it's like holding a candle in a dark room. You have a little bit of light, you're kind of getting the point, but for a lot of people that do this and actually live this lifestyle and follow it through, it's like turning the actual light switch on in the room. It's like, oh, I've been in this room the entire time where all I had was this little candle. I had a little bit of an idea. If you understand what I'm saying, then
yeah, I do.
What was that moment like? And if it wasn't one particular moment, what was the mindset that shifted with you? Does that make sense? Like it was like a little bit of an idea. You were playing around with it. You were getting it. But what was the point where the light turned on, and then all of a sudden, all this made sense? All of it became like, oh. This is the life I can lead, because it seems like there's a paradigm shift for everybody that does this, where it goes from, oh, that'd be cool to do, to like, holy crap, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So can you touch base on that?
Well, I could say 2 things. One, there was 2 lights. There was a light with doing what I loved, which was video stuff, and then that light with the van thing. And I'd say the van thing was like, the light was like more of, you can only invest into yourself rather than renting, or like, if that makes sense, like
building other people's dreams.
Yeah, it's like, why, for me, the light was there as why are you still building someone else's dream when you can build your own? And it, like, as cheesy or whatever as people want to make it, it's like, it's so true. And like, to me, it's like, why am I giving my money away to make someone else sit there and, you know what I mean? Like, make money while they sleep. While I'm working, they're sleeping and making money. It's like, that's not right. That's not the way I'm doing things, you know? So for me, it was more of that light of not wanting to invest in someone else's dream and just myself. And maybe that's me being selfish, but I think it's a great way to live. And like, once you get to the point where you're at now, it's like I feel like I'm at the point where I'm starting to give back, and like everyone, you know, contacting me and asking me questions like, dude, I want to do this van thing, and like I'm inspiring people, and that's crazy. I would have never thought that. And that people ask me all the time, and it's like, you know, about the daily questions like we did in the tour, like the bathroom thing and how you do with the heat, and you know, just all the things. And like, you can do it, anyone can do it. And I think the biggest thing that I would say to launch people in is to do it. Don't think too much about it, just do it, because you're going to figure it out. The way we're wired is to figure things out. If you got thrown in a room with someone you didn't know and had to like figure something out, you guys would do it. Like that's just the way we're wired, you know what I mean? And I think people just don't realize that yet. Like me going to Canada right now, not having a plan, like not knowing what I'm gonna do or anything, like you figure it out, you just do it, you act impulsively and you think, and you know, it's just like, it's funny how it works, but you figure it out. And like, that's what I want to say to people for that. And then as far as like the dream goes, like that light of like, dude, you got it. Like you got that support, like all my friends and family that are like, Mitch, you could do this. And you know, me thinking they're just trying to gas me up or whatever, and just like, because I criticize myself and think I'm not that good at times, and you know, everyone just constantly floods you with positivity. It's like, dude, what's stopping you? Like, what's stopping you? Is it money? Is it money? Then what are you gonna do? Like, what are you gonna do to, you know, fix that? And for me, the van is how you can do it. And I think for the van and going with your dreams, like my overall thing would be pretty much to find your why and to find what you desire. Like figure out what you desire, what kind of lifestyle it is, you know. And I desire a lifestyle of financial freedom and being able to go wherever, whenever, and do whatever on my time and not have anybody dictate that. And for me, I'm like, how are you going to do it? Because everyone, oh yeah, I love to travel and want to travel. It's like, hey, well, what do you do? I work at Arby's. Are you doing something that works? You know, like I busted my balls at a diner, dude, like slaying night times, just trying to rake in as much dough as I can to like, you know, you got to do what works for a short period of time in order to like, you know, get what you want. And people don't understand that, and they're not ambitious enough to go and get it, and you got to be, you know. And and like I find it harder with my generation. Like I don't associate with a lot of people that are my age because they just don't think like me. And like I just finally met two dudes, Camden Miller and Spencer. Yeah, those were the first people I met that were actually doing what I was doing and had the same mindset. Like it was just really weird to find someone on the road. Like I was coming up to Pocatello and he was coming from Boise to Pocatello, and he ended up calling me right at the perfect time. He's like, where are you? I'm like, 5 miles from Pocatello. He's like, I'm 10 miles. He's like, let's meet up. And last night, dude, we just linked right up in Pocatello, cruised out to the mountains and like camped out. And it was like, had the best conversation and just like best realizations, and you know, we're on the same page. And like, it's so cool to see someone out there that's like me, because I feel like an outcast. Like where I live, it's like I'm not normal, and like who cares what normal is, but you know, like I'm frowned upon. I'm different, and some people look up to that, some people look at me differently, which, you know, you could take that how you want. But
when it comes down to it, that is what makes, because I do the same thing. Like I basically wake up early and work until about 7 p.m. every day. It's like always hustling, getting after it, because it's like once you get an idea of this lifestyle, once you get a little taste, it's like you're willing to do whatever it takes to make it work. Because
it's true.
How old are you?
20.
So it took me till about 27. I was bartending in Arizona, and that's when I made the most cash. And when I just, instead of going out and spending it or whatever, it went straight into the van, saving up for gas.
Yep.
And it was like a shift.
Yeah.
And from that point, it was building different businesses, remote businesses, building teams.
Yeah.
To make this lifestyle happen.
Yeah, a reality. How are you going to make it reality? And
anything it took.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like everyone's like, oh, I want to do it. And then they're just like, but I can't. And it's like, come up with a plan from yearly, you know, or maybe even, you know, 2 years to year to 6 months to month to weekly to daily to hourly. What are those things that are going to like stack up to that main goal, and how you're going to get there? And like that, I would say write it down. You write it down, you're going to stick to it. Like, and like, it sounds crazy, but when I was 18, someone sat me down and did the same thing. What do you desire? And I didn't have the van thing in mind, but I said I want my net worth to be over 100,000 by the time I'm 21. That was my goal. I just, like, between either if I did or didn't have a house, or, you know, real estate or money in the bank or whatever it was, the things I acquired and had, I wanted my net worth to be over 100,000. And now I'm only 20. I'm like turning 21 in December, and it's like I'm right there. Like, now the fact that my property's raised up value. I also have another lot in Bryan Head, Utah that I just went in on with my family. And just like with all my cuts combined, I'm like right short under 100,000, and it like feels so good. Like that's that light, that's that shit you go for every day. And like, you know, I can make my life a lot easier and go sell my properties, so I don't have to, like, you know, have the taxes or, you know, pay for them or whatever, and like have that cash. But it, like, that's that hustle, that's that thing that drives you to like keep going. And like, you know what I mean? Like, for me to push myself out in real estate, going to every brokerage and like passing out my pamphlets and my business cards, and just, you know, trying to just promote the hell out of myself, just to, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's that hustle. You got to do it. You got to grind. And it's like, people think everyone who lives in a van is such a low life, and it's like, you got it wrong, dude.
Oh, yeah.
You got it wrong.
Yeah, well, the one benefit with that is, when it comes down to it, is the other people not being willing to do that is what makes it possible. Because if you're able to put in that extra effort, if you're able to hustle and build and get as many residual sources of income, because my goal is, like, I didn't even have any financial goals till I was in my 30s. It was basically just getting out there traveling. Like, it didn't matter building anything. It's like, as long as I was on the road, I was happy. I was good to go.
And you realize it's a lot more than that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you got to plan for the future. You know, you got to think, how am I going to passively make this work for a long period of time? And that's what I desire. And it's just like, how am I going to do it? You know, you got to come up with plans on how you're going to do it. Rather, that's, you know, for people like us, we seek more of a passive income. You know, you work super hard and then let that shit pay off later on. And I definitely can relate to that. You got to plan accordingly, and just figure out how you're gonna make it work. And rather that's through, you know, starting online businesses, or, you know, whatever it is that you do, find your craft, find your why, and then because when you find your why in something, I feel like a lot of times people know if you're bullshitting, or if this is what you're passionate about. And I don't think people don't like to do business with people that just want to make money. They want it for the why. People don't, and like, that's what I come to real estate agents, and that's what I sell to them. I sell them, what's your why? Why does a client come to you to be their agent when everybody else could sell their house? And it's like, why do people come to me for video work when anyone else can do video work? It's because you like my style, you like the way I do things, you like my lifestyle. This is my why. This is why I'm doing it, is because, you know what I mean? And when people know your why, they're like, dude, that's a cool dude, you know? And they're all about it. Like, I feel like every business person I've had encounters with, they're like, dude, like, that's a cool guy. Like, his why. Like, they love my why and why I do what I do and why I live the way I live. Like, and, you know, a lot of people can't live like me, but they respect the hell out of it. And that's what's cool, you know? And like, we all do things different, but, you know, respecting each other's in different manners. You know, it's just hard, especially like the younger, like all my peers in college, they suffer, man, like hard. And it's so hard for me, because it's like, dude, look at everything I've done in 20 years. And it's not saying that to try to brag. It's like, look at all the stuff you can do, and look what you're doing right now. Why are, like you all want to do these, like if you want to be a nurse so bad and that's everything you want, then do it. But what do you have to do to do it? You got to go to college. You have to go to college. You got to get the degree. You got to do it that way. You got to go to nursing school. If that's what you desire, go get it. But like, for the people that are in college and they're just lost, like the people that are in college and just have no idea what they want, no idea what they desire, no idea what they aspire to be, and just all that stuff, it's like you're wasting your time. It's like figure out what you desire and then execute. And as far as like me, like being in college, I was like, me wanting to be either a flight attendant or a videographer, I'm like, what is college doing for me? Nothing. And so it's like I stopped, got my associates of science just to say I did it, you know, because I wasn't just going to quit. I was going to finish what I started. So I finished and now I'm done. And it's like, you know, it's just, it sucks to see my peers like living like so just paycheck to paycheck and just making someone else richer and not giving into their dreams. And it's draining for me, honestly.
Why do you think they do that? Why do you think they live that way? Of do you think it's they've never been given the permission to do what they wanted to do, or they're more happy just with the status quo? Why do you think they live that way?
I think a reason why they do live that way is because they don't know they have other options. And you know, I could be guilty of that because when I first got into college, I had no idea about this kind of lifestyle. And then once I was, you know, shown this kind of lifestyle, I was able to, you know, like be like, oh, like make it like, is that what I want? You know, as long as I feel like people just don't know the options they have, and you know, they don't explore their options, and they're just content because that's all they've ever known and that's all they've ever been taught. And that's all I ever knew, and that's all I was ever taught until I was enlightened about it. And like once you're enlightened about something like this, you know, if it is for you, it'll grab your ass. But if it's not, you know,
It's not for everybody.
yeah, it's not for everybody, and it's not the solution to problems, because in this life, you know, there's problems, but you figure it out. There's solutions to every problem, you know. No such thing as problems, just solutions. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you do want to stay up with me, you can find me on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter if you want. At man_indie_van. You can see it on the picture on the side of my van, and he might have it in the link in the description. So just hit that up and we'll keep in contact. Hit me up if you ever want to meet up on the road, because that's what I love to do. So thanks guys, cheers.